On February 19, 1914, May Pierstorff, just short of her 6th birthday, was mailed from her parents' home in Idaho to her grandparents' house about 73 miles away for just 53 cents worth of stamps. May's parents were taking advantage of parcel post service, which began just the year before. In the early years of this service, customers and postal officials were still getting used to how the service could be used. But was mailing children really a good idea? Amazingly enough, May wasn't the only child entrusted to parcel post service. But before images of babies bouncing around in mailbags start appearing in your head, the children whose families entrusted them to the post office department were mailed by traveling with trusted postal workers, in May's case, a relative who worked on the railway mail trains. The first child, mailed in the U.S., was an unnamed boy in Ohio in mid-January 1913. The son of Mr. and Mrs. Jesse Boge was carried by rural free delivery carrier Vernon Little to its grandmother, Mrs. Lewis Beeg, about a mile away. The boy's parents paid 15 cents for the stamps and even insured their son for $50. After that, many other parents started mailing their children miles away to their relatives. In spite of a busy start, the rest of the year passed without postal officials having to face other children traveling by mail. May's travels in early 1914, along with an inquiry about mailing children that month, inspired Postmaster General Burleson to issue directions to the nation's postmasters that all human beings were barred from the mails. Of course, for some, laws are meant to be broken. And merely a month after the No Humans announcement, some people started mailing children again. The year of 1915 was a banner year for mailing children. Unburdened by regulations now on the books against mailing children, 2 more trips were made that year. In March, rural carrier Charles Hayes from Missouri carried Mr. and Mrs. Albert Combs' daughter Helen by parcel post for 10 cents. Hayes delivered Helen to her grandmother, Mrs. C.H. Combs, whose home was also on his route. That September, 3-year-old Maud Smith made her parcel post journey when she traveled from her grandparents' home to her mother's in Kentucky. A local newspaper noted that this particular trip was being investigated by the postal officials. Perhaps it was the public notice of the investigation, but for whatever reason, it appears to have been the final case of child mail.